Hey everybody. All right. Do a real quick intro and then we'll get into the good stuff, the noise and how the dyno tuning went. So I wish we had done a baseline of that bike completely stock, because when we came in today after doing the exhaust mod and did the baseline already had a slightly improved map with the restrictions removed and stuff. So it's not really comparing a stock bike to what this is. What it was doing was showing this modified bike with the map that was in it versus what we were able to do with the map. To be honest, it was worth going and throwing it on the dyno and paying for the tune. The good news here is that if you've got this bike and you want to do those mods, you can email your ECU up to Chris or Mike at Moore Mafia and they can do the tune. They can just, for 200 bucks, they'll turn around and ship it back to you, and they can drop the tune made for that setup into your bike. It did smooth it out. When you look at the numbers don't always tell the whole story. And numbers from one dyno don't always compare to another. You know, we started at 100, we only ended up with 102 and change, and we picked up 2 foot-pounds of torque. But it did make a noticeable difference in how it rode and how smooth it reacted and got rid of any lag that was in there. And on someone else's dyno, that could be 106 horsepower. Like it could change tomorrow. I could go to the same dyno tomorrow and it's less humid and, you know, pick up 1.5 horsepower. So don't get caught up too much on the number. I know that there's some crazy numbers out there from Ivan, and his numbers are good. But that's with full airbox mod, velocity stacks, full exhaust. What we learned on this is that putting in that pipe, it does make it a lot louder. It makes it sound better. It drops 8 to 10 pounds off the weight of the bike. But that box was not really much of a restriction point as far as flow. Removing the cats didn't really change performance at all. Those skinny little headers are the bottleneck. If you want to gain 10, 15 horsepower in that range with a full tune and all that kind of stuff, you're going to need to update to the Akrapovic or the Delkovic or a quality header that's going to give you a much larger diameter, and then you're going to have to tune for that. What we found here was that you don't have to tune. You could just get your ECU unrestricted to get rid of the throttle restrictions and timing restrictions and things like that. And the map that was in there, we improved on it, so we did pick up 2.5 horsepower and 2 foot-pounds of torque, but it wasn't a night and day difference. The map that's in the bike can handle getting rid of that breadbox and decatting it. And the reason being is because those headers are restrictive enough that getting rid of that box doesn't change a whole lot. So I don't want to say bad news because I don't regret going and getting this done. When I make a change like that, I want to know that the bike is running fine, it's running cool, it's getting the fuel and air that it needs, it's happy, and it's as snappy as it can be. Whatever the number is, that's just what the number is. Part of me would have liked to have seen a bigger number. But unfortunately, to get that bigger number, I would have had to spend a bunch more money on the headers, and then it might have been probably too lean to ride up there. We would have had to trailer it up and stuff. So anyway, we'll get to the good stuff. I'll put together some of the clips. You can hear what it sounds like, see what we did today. And then at the end, I will have, stay tuned at the very end, I'll put up the actual screenshot of the dyno chart of when we walked in the door with an already flashed ECU. Again, keep that in mind. This was not a stock baseline run. It was already flashed. All we did was take that flash and then fine-tune the fueling and ignition to make that flash better. But that's the flash you'll be buying if you wanted to go to them and get that set up and spend $200 to get the mail-in flash. You'll be happy with the results. If you get the full headers, you're gonna need a tune. That particular flash won't work for you. So anyway, let's get to the good stuff. Say hey, Mr. Mike.
Hello.
So it's not Chris today. Chris is actually at a drag racing school. So we got Mike here, who's going to be taking care of us. And we got a 2020 Z900RS, K&N or a BMC, I forget what, but it is a higher flow filter. No airbox mod. It's not going to monkey with that stuff, because then you got to get into per cylinder tuning if I did the whole airbox mod and sort of change the velocity stacks and stuff. So we're just going to leave the airbox as is, using stock headers with the D cat. And actually this bike had 2 cats, so we got rid of both cats. O2's already been eliminated. It's already got the D-restrictor flash, but it is running the stock fuel map for the most part. Although I think Chris did add some ignition timing up top. I think he found that they pull 3 or 4 degrees or whatever the magic number is, and added some of that. But fueling wise, it's pretty much stock muffler. It's loud as hell. So we're going to do some dyno pulls and see what it makes, and then see if there's room for improvement. Also be able to get some good noise, because I know a lot of people on the channel were asking, what's it sound like? What's it sound like? So you'll find out. Going down the road, you never quite get the same sound as we will from here. So it's quite loud, but it's got a good tone. So it'll be very cool. It's got a nice setup here. We'll be able to see what the results are. And while we're here, we're also going to do an ECU reflash on my ZF6R ECU, because I have removed the cats, and apparently that does change the flow a good bit. So he's got a better map we're going to dump in there, but won't be able to dyno that, obviously. Get it stopped. Alright, traction control is off. But actually spun the tire up?
It starts to spin the tire again. The our drum needs 3 knurls.
Yeah.
You gotta travel down really tight.
Alright.
Right.
That's it coming to the rev limiter. It has a fuel cut, it's a soft cut is what they call it. And so it will start pulling fuel when it thinks it's about to hit the rev limiter.
Okay.
So that's about
Is that something you get rid
10-1
of?
on the tack.
Gotcha.
The dyno and the tack never read exactly the same.
Is that something you get rid of, or just what it does?
I'll have to look at the file. I don't know if I can or not. But yeah, it'll start randomly pulling fuel from different cylinders in order to. It knows it's getting close to the limiter, and it says, "Hey, I'm gonna try to stop this from happening."
Sure.
Some bikes they give you the option, some bikes they do not. So it is a little rich.
Yeah, it looks like
Down here it's really good.
Yeah, it doesn't look bad at all there.
But up here, yeah, 12.6s, about 7,000 up. It's a little rich. I mean, it's definitely rideable. Definitely not a problem. This all back here looks really good.
So we lean that out a little bit, because I know, like, is it
will pick up.
a little lean is mean, they say? So you,
But it will pick up. It definitely will pick up.
Yeah.
And if we get just a little bit more in that area as well. So,
all right.
yeah.
That's cool.
Let me go in and grab the harness.
Yeah.
And stuff that I need.
All right, so we're sitting about 100 horsepower. And what was the peak? What was the torque? No, that's not what you're doing. We'll get it when you're done.
There you go. Let me just, I don't know why I turned it back. There you go. So peak torque 65.
65 foot-pounds. It looks like we're running a good bit rich in here. Not lean. That's also surprising, is when you free all that up, you figure it's going to be lean up there, and it's not.
No, it's rich. Remember where
Yeah.
Yep.
All right, cool.
Well, he may already have some fuel up there, and he may have just slightly overshot it. I mean, that looks like a lot, but that realistically is probably 4%, 5% fuel.
Yeah.
Nothing drastic. Not like it's 20% over fuel.
Right.
by doing that, that tells me that whenever it picks up more torque, that's definitely better. So if we come here and say, and another thing is if we look at the two runs back to back, they're very consistent. So that's another thing, is being able at different heat at the motor, different temperatures, we want to be able to produce the same result. So if we, so that would be our second pull, the way it was initially with the original flash, and then that's after I made the changes to it. So again, not gigantic changes, but that was already unrestricted, already had timing, already. So I mean, did you see how much smoother it is? Yeah. Like I know it doesn't seem like it, but 2 horsepower pretty much across the board just by dialing it, getting it, you know, adding that little bit of fuel down here actually helped it as well. So yeah, I'd be interested. This has got to be something to do just the way that when the cam starts to come in phase with our, it's got to be something related to that. But,
I think to get the bigger gains out of this, you got to do the headers.
You're gonna have to do you're gonna have to do more modifications. But is it really?
I'm not worried about it.
That's not what you're worried about. That's not what you're
No,
trying to do.
I've got other bikes. If I want to go faster, I've got, you know, other bikes that are.
And then you saw how all your cruising stuff. See how much more steady that air fuel is. Didn't have that big lean spike right at about say 4,000. So that's gonna definitely make a lot of difference.
Yeah.
So I think the bike's gonna be a lot more pleasurable to ride. It'll also be a lot cooler on your legs and stuff when you're rolling down the highway, because it wasn't lean where it's hurting the power delivery, but it would make it run slightly warmer. So by us
which is already an issue with this bike. They tend to run hot.
It's gonna make a big difference.
Yeah.
A big difference. So.
All right, cool.
You see, that's where most of the work goes in that map, is into that cruising area.
Right.
You know, that 3,000 to 7,000 area of the map.
Very cool. All right. Well, there you have it.
It's almost like they knew everybody was going to take off that exhaust. Or knew that people were going to do that.
Yeah, I think where I was seeing the bigger numbers from like Dale Walker and Ivan and stuff, they were using different headers.
Absolutely.
And I think
so. This has a pretty large exit and it's all one size.
Right.
So on this, I would say a stepped header design, where it's slightly smaller and then about 4 inches out and it enlarges.
Right.
That's going to help evacuate the exhaust out and get it out faster. Those are where you're going to see more. You're probably, you know, 107, 108, 110 numbers, stuff like that.
Yeah, I mean, Ivan, again, every dyno, take it with a grain of salt.
Every dyno is different.
But he went from 100, 102 stock to, with the Delkovic headers, like 114. With the Akrapovic was getting 118. Then when he started in when he did the full exhaust, he was at like 120. When he did the airbox, got him up to the 124 range. So this motor is corked up a lot.
Yeah, there's definitely
but I mean, for this kind of bike, I'm not really looking to go that fast on this bike. I just want it to have grunt wherever I want it. I want it to be smooth.
Most of the roads I ride on, I don't get to enjoy all 120 very often.
Yeah. I mean, getting rid of the box didn't really add that much power, I don't think. We probably picked up a couple, but it did get rid of the weight. It made it sound nicer. It'll run cooler because it's not all that.
It is nice because it's not overwhelmingly loud. Like, there's some things that are just so loud that none of your buddies even want to ride with you because your bike's so loud.
Yeah, Jonathan and Cody, that's you we're talking about. But yeah, also getting rid of that big heat sink essentially off the bottom too.
Yeah, definitely don't want to go off-road across any grass with one of them underneath there. You might start a grass fire.
The only thing that box was good for was jacking the back end up so I could, when I replaced the shock. But that thing was, I put the K-Tech Razor on there.
K-Tech, very good stuff.
Yeah, the stock shock was shit.
Yeah, I'd probably ride 10 minutes and it would get hot and overheat and then it'd be a pogo stick.
After 20 minutes, that's all you get a good ride out of it. I had the guys, Tony up at GMD CompuTrack, set this suspension up last week. A little bit thicker fork oil and then got it dialed in and then had to replace the shock. Cool. All right, awesome. Well, there you have it. We'll go through the gains. I'll actually get a printout, or actually I'll get the files themselves so I can do screen caps of the beginning run and the end run. And then we'll cut this all up, throw it into a video. Much thanks to Mike here at Moore Mafia. There's their information right there. So now that they've got this map built, if you're someone who's, you know, if you want to do the full exhaust and stuff, then you're going to have to go get it tuned. If you're just going to do the link pipe and the basic mods that I've done, now they've got a flash for 200 bucks. Just mail them your ECU or bring it over, and they'll go ahead and then flash that. They'll have a map for you. You'll basically have what I've got. So we'll talk to you guys later.